Hello everyone and welcome back to Cute Crochet. My name is Sri and in today's video I am going to show you how to crochet this adorable little frog amigurumi. It's really easy to make and perfect for beginners, and it makes the most adorable keychain. To make this you will need some green yarn for the body, white for the belly, and a little bit of pink and black for the facial embroidery. I have also used some black beads for the eyes, but you can embroider that as well. For tools, you are going to need a crochet hook, a yarn needle, something to use as a stitch marker, and a pair of scissors. You will also need some stuffing to stuff your amigurumi. So, let's get started. I am going to use this light green yarn. This is a 4-ply yarn, and with it I am going to use a 3mm crochet hook, which is a couple of sizes smaller than what is recommended for this yarn. It's actually recommended to use a 4mm hook with this. We do this so that our stitches are nice and tight and none of the stuffing shows through. We are going to start by making a magic circle. To do that, wrap your yarn up and over your finger like so, forming a cross in the front. Then insert your hook underneath the cross. Take the yarn from the other side and pull through. Then again yarn over and pull through the loop on your hook. Now remove this loop from your finger, and this is the magic circle that we are going to work into. Start by making a chain 1. This chain 1 does not count as a stitch. Then we are going to make 6 single crochets into the magic circle. To make a single crochet, insert your hook into the magic circle and pull up a loop. You will have 2 loops on your hook like this. Yarn over and pull through the 2 loops, and that finishes 1 single crochet. Let's do it again. Insert your hook into the magic circle and pull up a loop. 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2. Now we are going to make 4 more single crochets like this for a total of 6 single crochets. After you finished making 6 single crochets, you can pull on this tail to cinch the magic circle completely closed, and this brings us to the end of round 1. At the end of round 1, we have 6 single crochets. This amigurumi is going to be worked in continuous rounds, so we need to mark the last stitch of the round. For that I am using a paper clip here, but you can use anything. You can use a yarn in a different color, or you can also get proper stitch markers. Round 2 is an increase round. For this round, we are going to increase in each stitch all the way around. An increase is simply placing 2 single crochets into one stitch. So, go into that first single crochet and make 1 single crochet. Then make 1 more single crochet into that same stitch, and that is our increase stitch. Again, into the next stitch, place 2 single crochets. Now into the remaining 4 stitches of the round, make increases, that is 2 single crochets into the same stitch. When you reach the last stitch of the round, remove the stitch marker and place 2 single crochets into that stitch as well. This brings us to the end of round 2. At the end of round 2, you will have 12 single crochets. Go ahead and mark the new last stitch of the round. For round 3, we are going to increase into every alternate stitch. So, into that first stitch, make a single crochet. Then into the next stitch, 2 single crochets. Then into the next stitch, 1 single crochet, then increase. Continue repeating like this. Single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase all the way around. Once you reach the last stitch, remove the stitch marker and place 2 single crochets into it. For this and every other increase round, you should be increasing into the last stitch, and if you are not, you must have done something wrong in your counting and you will have to recheck your work. Go ahead and mark the new last stitch of the round. At the end of round 3, you will have 18 single crochets. For round 4, we are going to simply place 1 single crochet into each stitch of the previous round, keeping the stitch count constant at 18. Now we are at the end of round 4. Go ahead and replace the stitch marker. For round 5, place 1 single crochet into the first 5 stitches. Then into the next stitch, increase. Again 1 single crochet into the next 5 stitches. Into the next stitch, increase. Now repeat this sequence one more time. 1 single crochet into the next 5 stitches and then increase. Like every other increase round, you should be increasing in the last stitch. At the end of round 5, you will have 21 single crochets. For round 6, place 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around, keeping the stitch count constant at 21. For round 7, place 1 single crochet into the first 6 stitches. Then into the next stitch, increase. We are going to repeat this sequence 2 more times. 1 single crochet into the next 6 stitches and then increase. Again 1 single crochet into the next 6 stitches and into the last stitch increase. Like every other increase round, you should be placing an increase into the last stitch. At the end of round 7, you will have 24 single crochets. Round 7 was our last increase round. For rounds 8 and 9, we are going to place 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around, keeping the stitch count constant at 24. I am going to finish making these 2 rounds and then I am going to meet back up with you. Here I finished making up to round 9. From round 10 we are going to start decreasing. Make 1 single crochet into the first 2 stitches. Then into the next 2 stitches we are going to make an invisible decrease. Let me tell you the difference between a regular decrease and an invisible decrease first. For a regular decrease we go into the next stitch and pull up a loop like we normally would for a single crochet, but do not complete that stitch. Again go into the next stitch and pull up a loop. With 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops at the same time, and that finishes a decrease stitch. You'll notice that that stitch looks a bit different than the rest of the stitches and it sticks out. For the invisible decrease, we are going to work into the front loops only. If you look at the stitches carefully, each stitch has a front loop and a back loop. Go under the front loop of the first stitch and then twist your hook around and go under the front loop of the second stitch. Then yarn over and pull up a loop like you normally would for a single crochet. Then yarn over and pull through 2, and that finishes our invisible decrease. You'll notice that that stitch looks the exact same as the rest of the stitches and it blends in much better. Then into the next 2 stitches again make 1 single crochet. Then into the next 2 stitches invisible decrease. Continue repeating like this, 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches and then invisible decrease all the way around. Similar to the increase rounds, into the last 2 stitches of the decrease round, you should always be decreasing, and if you're not doing that, you have done something wrong in your counting. At the end of round 10, you will have 18 single crochets. For round 11, make 1 single crochet into the first stitch. Then into the next 2 stitches invisible decrease. Again, one single crochet into the next stitch and then invisible decrease. Continue repeating this sequence of one single crochet and invisible decrease all the way around. At the end of round 11, you will have 12 single crochets. At this point, we are going to stuff the body. Make sure not to overstuff. For round 12, we are going to decrease into each stitch all the way around, and also I am going to work into the back loops only. We do this so that our amigurumi has a flat bottom and it's able to stand up on its own. If you don't need it to do that, for example, if you're going to use it as an ornament only, you can just do the stitches normally, not in the back loops, and it will have a rounded bottom. You'll notice that here we are doing the regular decrease, not the invisible decrease. At the end of round 12, you will have 6 single crochet stitches. Cut the excess yarn, leaving a long enough tail for sewing, and then fasten off. Then, to close up the hole, I am going to weave this tail in and out through the front loops of all of the stitches of this round. Then when you pull on this tail, it should close up the hole nicely. With the help of a yarn needle, bring that tail through the center of the hole and then out through the top of the head in the center. Leave that tail hanging there for now. We can use this tail to sew on a keychain or make the loop of a Christmas tree ornament. The bottom of your amigurumi should be flat like this and it should be able to stand up on its own. For the belly, I am using some white yarn. Start by making a magic circle in the same way as before. I am using the same hook I used for the body. For the belly, we are going to repeat the exact same thing that we did for the first 3 rounds of the body. I won't go too much into detail of this. For round 1, place 6 single crochets into the magic circle. For round 2, increase in each stitch around. At the end of round 2, you will have 12 single crochets. For round 3, we are going to increase in every alternate stitch. Single crochet, increase all the way around. At the end of round 3, you will have 18 single crochets. After you finish round 3, slip stitch into the next stitch and then fasten off, leaving a long enough tail for sewing. Through that same stitch, bring that yarn tail to the back so that it's easier to work with. For the eyes, using the same green yarn, we are going to start by making a magic circle. Then chain 1 and make 5 single crochets into the magic circle. Then pull on this tail to cinch the magic circle completely closed, and that's the eye piece done. Then we are going to fasten off, leaving a long enough tail for sewing. You'll need to make 2 of this piece. For the arms, again with the same green yarn, start by making a slip knot. Try to leave the tail of the slip knot a little bit longer. We are going to use this tail for sewing. Then chain 4. Then we are going to start working into this chain, into these back loops of the chain. These bumps right here. This is the front, this is the back. We are going to skip the first chain from the hook and then into the second chain from the hook in the back loop. We are going to make a single crochet. Then into the back loop of the next chain, 1 single crochet. Then 1 single crochet into the last chain. And this is our arm piece complete. Now fasten off, leaving a long enough tail for sewing. You'll of course need to make 2 of these pieces. For the feet, again with the same green yarn, start by making a magic circle and then make 6 single crochets into it. Cinch the magic circle, and this brings us to the end of round 1. Mark the last stitch of the round. Then for round 2, we are going to make 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around, keeping the stitch count constant at 6. Here I am at the end of round 2. Now slip stitch into the next stitch. Then fasten off, leaving a long enough tail for sewing. Through that same last stitch, bring that yarn tail to the back to make it easier for sewing. This is our foot complete. You'll need to make 2 of these pieces. Now that all of the pieces have been made, we are going to start sewing them all together, starting with the belly. Place the belly towards the lower side of the amigurumi, making sure that it doesn't overlap with the flat bottom. Then we are going to take one loop from the body and one loop from the belly and sew through both of them. We are going to sew like this all the way around. After sewing all the way around, bring that yarn tail to the back and leave it hanging there for now. Next, I am going to sew on the feet. It's so small it barely needs any stuffing. I am just going to push in this tail inside it. If you want, you can add the tiniest bit of extra stuffing. For me, I think this is enough. Then I am going to place the foot right beside the belly along the bottom edge and sew around it. After sewing, bring that yarn tail in through the base of the foot and out through the back of the amigurumi. I am going to repeat the same thing on the other side with the other foot. After sewing, bring the yarn tail in through the base of the foot and out through the back through the same hole as the previous tail. Then we are going to tie a knot using these two tails. Then cut the excess yarn and hide the knot into the body by pushing it in using the back of your yarn needle. This is how we are going to secure all of our pieces. Next, I am going to sew on the eye piece and I am going to place it on top of rounds 3 and 4. First, I am going to take the yarn tail of the magic circle on my yarn needle and then bring it through between rounds 3 and 4. Make sure that the placement is symmetric with respect to the belly and the feet. Then I am going to take the other yarn tail on my yarn needle. Then I am going to sew the base of the eyepiece using this yarn tail to the body. After sewing, bring that yarn tail in through the base of the eye and out through the same hole as the previous yarn tail. We are going to repeat the exact same thing on the other side with the other eye, making sure that its placement is symmetric on top of rounds 3 and 4. Then we are going to secure both of them by tying knots with their respective tails. Then I am going to stick on some black beads for the eyes. These were actually flat back white pearls that I painted with black nail polish, and then I am going to stick them on using some fabric glue. Do not glue on the eyes if you are making this for a child. They can come off and become choking hazards. But in this project you can't use safety eyes either because the eyepiece is flat. In that case you will have to embroider the eye. For the eye you can use French knots. I am going to show you how to do that when I do the blush for the cheeks. Next, I am going to embroider a smile. For that, I have separated one ply from my 4 ply black yarn. I am going to place a smile in between rounds 2 and 3. So, come in from the back in between the two eyes, but do not pull it all the way through. Then, make a straight line in between the two eyes, making sure that it is symmetric. Then we are going to tack it down in the middle to form the shape of a smile. Bring that yarn tail out through the same hole that we came in. Fiddle around a little bit with the shape of the smile until you are happy with it. Once you are happy with the shape of the smile, tie a knot at the back using these two tails. Then cut the excess yarn and hide the knot into the body. Next are the arms. I am going to first mark where I want them to go. I am going to place them on top of round 6 and one stitch apart from the eye. I am marking it with the pin. Do the same on the other side. Then put one yarn tail of an arm on your yarn needle. We are going to sew it into these two holes diagonally. So remove the pin and then go through that hole and bring the yarn tail out through the back of the amigurumi. Then put the other tail on your yarn needle. Then go in through the hole that is diagonally below the previous hole and then bring the yarn tail out through the same hole as the previous yarn tail. Then the second arm. Note that we are going to sew it the wrong side facing out. This is the right side, this is the wrong side. If you do this, the positioning of the arms will look symmetric. If you don't do this, it will look slightly off. I am going to sew this arm in the exact same way as before. Then we are going to tie knots using these tails to secure the arms and then hide the knots into the body. Next, I am going to embroider some blush for the cheeks using this pink yarn. So, come in from the back of the amigurumi and out right below the eyes, right here. Here we are going to make a French knot. For that, wrap the base of the yarn on your yarn needle twice like so. Wrap loosely and then bring your yarn needle into the same hole and then out where you want your other blush to be. This will create a circular embroidery. This is called a French knot. We are going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Then you can knot the tails to secure the embroidery. To add a keychain, take the yarn tail on top of the head on your yarn needle and then sew through the jump ring of the keychain. Then bring it down through the same hole and out through the hole where the last yarn tail is. And then you will simply tie a knot using these tails and hide the knot, and that will be it. And that's it. I hope you guys liked this video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.